Guys, I have a very unfortunate confession to make. I did not watch UFC 292. I was unable to view it live. Truth is, this morning I'm not feeling 100% well, so this video is going to be a little bit of a droggy video. So, to keep the Monday busy, we're going to actually speak about the middleweight division now and kind of get you prepped up for UFC 293 ahead of time. That is Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. So, we're going to be looking at the middleweight division that is 185 pounds. And sitting at the top of the middleweight division, we have Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya has been reigning the division for forever. At least that's what it seems like right now, because he is a very active fighter. Scratch that, he's a very active champion. He actually recently gained his title back from Alex Pereira, who knocked him out on their first MMA fight. Israel Adesanya is a kickboxer, striker, specialist from Nigeria. And so to have a striker as a champion may seem exciting, but unfortunately he is a very patient striker. Therefore, some of his title defenses have been less than entertaining. However, given the proper opponent, he could have possibly the best performance of his life. He faces Sean Strickland at 293, so we'll see what happens. At number 1, we have Dricus du Plessis. Du Plessis kind of came out of nowhere and doesn't look like he's that good, but he is. It's kind of weird to say. He has such a weird style and a weird way of fighting, and everything is just very rough, but it works for him. He last faced Robert Whittaker, where he TKO'd him, which was insane because Robert Whittaker was known as the guy to be the champion had Israel Adesanya never existed. So when he lost to Dricus du Plessis, it was really wild. Moving on to number 2, we have Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker has been in the UFC for quite a bit of time, originally fighting at 170 pounds, but now is fighting at 185. He is a former middleweight champion, actually losing his belt to Israel Adesanya. He is a very well-rounded fighter and is one of the best in the weight class. However, I don't think he's going to be getting the title anytime soon, so that's the unfortunate part. He's already got 2 losses against our current champion, and now lost over the number 1 contender Dricus du Plessis. At number 3, we have Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier is one of those weird fighters where he's good where he wants to be, but he's not when he needs to be. And to be not really too active in the Israel Adesanya fight when he fought for the title was pretty strange. But to be fair, they're both kind of in that similar, very patient fighting style, which is why when he fought Sean Strickland, it was okay. It was an okay performance, I'd say. And then he fought Vettori and then beat Vettori, which is crazy because Vettori was another one of those guys who was pretty good during his run up to the title. Moving on to number 4, we have Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vettori is in one of those cases where he can't really challenge for the title again. Marvin Vettori just happens to have 2 losses against Adesanya, so it's very hard to put him up in that title category. It's kind of hard to discuss where his next fight should be. You could make an argument to have him fight Derek Brunson again, but it's very difficult. At number 5, we have Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland is actually fighting. Sean Strickland is one of those weird type of fighters. Very, very unorthodox, very sloppy with his technique, but somehow it works. The only real reason why Sean Strickland is fighting for the title is because everybody is kind of busy, and nobody really wants to see Jared Cannonier fight Adesanya again. Not especially after that last performance. Dricus du Plessis is out with an injury. Robert Whittaker and Marvin Vettori have 2 losses against Adesanya, and anybody that could fight him lower than the top 5, Paulo Costa's busy trying to fight Khamzat Chimaev. Derek Brunson and lower are way too low for the rankings. It's pretty tough to kind of like call this fight. And it's very difficult when you have Israel Adesanya who is beating fighters, and it's not like they're in a decline. He's actively beating these fighters while they're in their prime. Henceforth, Robert Whittaker, who held up the division for however long that he has been until Dricus du Plessis stepped in. But at number 6, we have Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa is to be fighting Khamzat Chimaev pretty soon, so we may see Khamzat in the rankings relatively soon. However, Paulo Costa has fought for the title once before and lost via TKO by Izzy, and he's kind of been in and out the division for the time being. It's very interesting to see where his career is trajecting, because he is at the end of the day like a pretty large, massive human being that is unreal with unreal power and some pretty decent speed behind him. At number 7, we have Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson is one of those other fighters that is on the unfortunate end of being in back-to-back losses, and his most recent win being Darren Till, who was coming off the couch and not really training in grappling at all. I don't see Derek Brunson breaking into the top 5 again. I think he's at the latter end of his career, and I think it should be almost time for him to kind of just retire. Either that, or they're going to use him as a stepping stone and as a gatekeeper for these top 15 guys. At number 8, we had Roman Dolidze. Roman, for a little while now, had been on a bit of a tear throughout the UFC, and then he faced a guy by the name of Marvin Vettori and unfortunately lost via unanimous decision. However, he definitely was a force to be reckoned with coming into that fight, finishing his last 3 fights via KO TKO and none of them going past the second round. So it was very interesting to see him up against the granite chin that is Marvin Vettori. I think Roman will get far. I don't know how far he will get, especially with a lot of the gatekeepers that are within the top 5. So only time will tell on how good he'll get and how he comes back from the Marvin Vettori loss. At number 9, we have Jack Hermansson. Jack Hermansson is one of those guys that is a bit on the decline. He's 2-2 in his last 4. He's been in the UFC for absolutely forever. But unfortunately, with this division, there is not too many prospects that are on the come up, at least within even the top 10, to be honest with you. So we're about to see a giant shift in the rankings as middleweight contenders start to appear out of thin air relatively soon, which is something that I'm very much recommending you guys to stay tuned for. It may seem boring right now, but give it maybe 1 or 2 years and the top 10 will be buzzing with brand new talent. And finally, rounding out the top 10, we have Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen is definitely a fighter to be a fan of. He is such an active fighter, trying to fight actively 3 times in a year, and he has done so for the past 3 years. I suspect that he's going to do it again this year, and probably has a fight coming up soon. He is on a 5-fight win streak, so I'm definitely thinking that this guy could really just break into the top 5. And I think he may just do it. He was actually supposed to be fighting Jack Hermansson, and he last fought a couple months ago against Bruno Silva. So I have no doubt in my mind that we may see him in December. Shit, maybe even October. However, a lot of these fights that happen on like the preliminary cards are typically shorter training camps. So there is a potential that we could see this dude in late September. Who knows? He's finished 4 of his last 6, all via submission. So definitely be on the lookout for this dude. He is going to make it very far. I can tell you that right now for certain. However, I do think that we should kind of hold off and see how he does against an actual ranked fighter, at least within the top 10. So may I petition him to fight against Jack Hermansson, which was actually a canceled bout prior. So make it happen. And now for an honorable mention, guys, I'm not going to mention Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel is a very popular figure making it onto a main card, so I'm not mentioning him. I want to mention prospects that are very much unknown. Also, Bo Nickel has yet to face a genuine wrestler or any real contenders for that matter. Probably not even a prospect at this point. He's just a very good wrestler with some really good power in his hands. Therefore, I'm going to be mentioning a mixed martial artist by the name of Caio Borralho. This dude is crazy. He's 4-0 going into the UFC. He's a submission specialist. His only loss is very, very, very early in his career. He is a very exciting fighter. He's pretty well-rounded, having some really good jiu-jitsu and some really good striking prowess as well. It's very interesting to see these guys that are coming out that are more well-rounded, who prefer to strike. He's very good at timing his takedowns. He's a very good. I think he's gonna break into the top 15 pretty soon if they start giving him some higher level of competition. He did very, very well his last fight, submitting the guy via rear naked. He is coming off the Contender Series, so he definitely has a little bit more star power behind him than others would be. He's a very good analyst when it comes down to looking at fights from that third-person perspective. And I think that's what's going to benefit him in the future. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Remember, Discord is linked down in the description below. Also, if you guys don't know, I was in a podcast last Friday uploaded to TMF. Link will be in the description below. Also, a card should be appearing somewhere. I don't know. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video. It means the world to me. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired on this one. It's been a pretty long weekend, if I do say so myself. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Deuces.